My name is Will Robb. I'm a graduate student here at the Marlboro Graduate Center. This is my final project, the Capstone Project, for my MBA in Managing for Sustainability. The name of the project is Our Daily Bread, Strategies for Grain Growing in Vermont. And the project has two components. There's a practical side, which you can see, and feel free to help yourself. This is the Cyrus Pringle loaf. This is bread made entirely with Vermont wheat. It's a first, being produced on a commercial scale by Red Hen Bakery. And so there's this, and then there's a theoretical component, which we start over here. Right now in Vermont, we're pretty good at doing the farm stand, the direct to farmer to market, the CSA level production. And we have an economic model for large scale production, for commodity food production, which is fairly dysfunctional. And I can spend a lot of time talking about that, but we basically know it doesn't work and are pretty aware of the problems. And the question is, what do you put in the middle? How do you scale this up so that we can start providing a significant portion of our regional diet without having to move to a commodity level? And what's becoming apparent is that you build a business ecosystem. You move away from this huge, gigantic, one-size-all-fits model and start to build an ecosystem of businesses that are a variety of sizes, a variety of scales. They're very flexible in terms of functionality. So I've tried to think through some of the pattern, I guess I'm calling them pattern elements, that if you were going to do this, what supports would be in place and what would the businesses start to look like. So you maintain relationship. One of the things about this model is that you've got a very good relationship with the land and with place, direct connections between the consumers and producers, so you maintain that. You can accommodate a variety of elements and scales, so you have some small businesses, some big, some medium. That kind of requires you to rethink some of your supply chains and how you build distribution networks. So this is the theoretical piece, and then the practical piece is, okay, how do we actually do this? In Vermont here, we've got a very small scale grain production system. We've basically got 2 or 3 farmers, a couple of bakeries. People are shipping out of state to mill up in Quebec and Champlain Mills over to New York. So I spend a lot of time talking to bakers and farmers, which is great, by the way. It's enormous fun. And distilled out this list of development strategies, which trying to keep this in mind. So instead of like, oh, let's raise $1 million and build a huge mill, it's like, okay, maybe we need some small stone mills for certain kinds of flour. Maybe we need larger mills for feed or to supply somebody like Red Hen, to start to come at it like that. I think success looks like, well, I don't have a numerical measure, but I would say most people eating most of their bread that mostly came from wheat that's grown in Vermont. You know, and you can extend that to most people eating, I don't know, 80% of their diet, 70% of their diet from food that's grown in state. And I think that the raw resources are there, the acreage and the ability to produce and stuff. But building the social and the technological infrastructures and the business models to support that are the challenge. Well, I think one of the foundational courses was studying economics from a different perspective. Studying what we call ecological economics, where instead of pretending that the economic system is this blank piece of paper that you can do anything you want with, you acknowledge that there's a physical world out there, there's a natural world, it has constraints, it behaves in certain ways. You come up with a very different set of economic principles, and you start to realize that you've got to put things that are not straight economics in place to get things like, what's the appropriate scale? The market will never answer that question. So that was a foundational course. A lot of the leadership work that's woven through the curriculum and the community work really supported me in going out into the world and talking to people and saying, okay, what are you guys doing? What do we need to put together here? So that's not on a content level necessarily, but a very important piece of this, I think. Yeah, I can't really exactly say where I got this particular bee in my bonnet. But one of the reasons that I did come into the program was because I wanted to take some of the work I've been doing in food systems and, you know, just kind of move it from the level of volunteering at the farm to, hey, we could really build this thing. I mean, we could really actually do this. And I like to eat. and I like to feed people. You know, I want my kids to be able to eat. So it seems pretty basic.